What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Trove One. Today, the Suburban camper is in a shop. This thing never been in a shop. This is a backyard build. But today, down here at the Tracer Custom shop, just got done with work a little while ago, and I brought this down because there's a few things I want to try to work on it before our next trip. Things that I've been trying to get done for a long time, but haven't succeeded in getting done. So what I want to do is drop the water tank out of it, which means I got to get all the water out of it. Probably should have done that before I brought it into the shop. Oh well. And then work on building out the bracket to put my battery in here. I've got a 200 amp hour gel battery from Renogy, and which, by the way, we are a dealer for Renogy. So if you want to get Renogy products, feel free to reach out to us. We can get them for you. Solar panels, we can install it. That's what Tracer Customs is all about, is installation and sales of vehicle customization equipment such as solar panels, chargers, radios, cell boosters, stereos, speakers, truck bed covers, bumpers, whatever. We can install it. And a lot of it we can probably get you some good prices on. So hit us up if you're in our area. Maybe we can help build out your vehicle. Anyway, I'm gonna work on the camper today and see if I can get started. I won't get it all done tonight, but maybe in this video, see if I can get this battery in and get a better solution for the water tank and the battery. Yeah, so this will be back in the back, well behind the axle. Water tank's back here, battery back here. This will help balance out some of our tongue weight. So let's get started and see what we can get into. I'm back again. Tonight it's the next day. Last night I didn't get a whole lot done. I got the tank out, drained, got the battery, and I was trying to prep some stuff, trying to figure out how to make all this work. Also am planning some of the electrical that's under the floor here. I've got to get a wire back to where this battery is going to go, and I've got we got this, which is just a couple of studs, and this is going to allow me to just hook on with a regular battery charger for the time being till I'm probably gonna get a Renogy charger to put in either under the floor or in a compartment over there that'll be mounted in here permanently. But for right now, I'm just gonna use a regular battery charger, and these studs will give me a spot to do that if I need it, or I'll be able to clip on if I need to try to jump start something off of it later. I'll have a spot to do that. I also have a main fuse. This is a resettable 100 amp fuse. It basically trips and then you can reset it. So I got to put that in line. That's going to come right off my battery in case anything gets shorted out. It'll trip that. So those have got to go in either under the floor or underneath somewhere. And then I'm just working on figuring out spacing on my battery, and I had to clean out a little bit more stuff up underneath the camper here where the spare tire used to be, but I've got it all cleared out now, and I'm just trying to figure out a way where I can put the water tank and the battery under here, get some skid plate protection for them and support them, and have them somewhat reasonably accessible if I need to pull them out or work on them or anything like that. So I'm working on a kind of a hinged bracket system that'll bolt to the frame so that I can drop it down basically and then access the battery in the top of the tank, and then use a jack and pick it back up and bolt it back in place. That's my general plan. I've got to get some measurements. I got some square tubing here, trying to work out the logistics on this, but I need to stick the tank back in here and get the battery in here and get some measurements on how far down they hang. They hang down below the frame, but they don't hang down below the tow package. So I was talking about cutting this one and doing a swing out bumper on it, which I am still gonna do the swing out bumper, but I think I'm gonna leave the factory tow. It's not a factory tow package, it's already raised higher than the factory, but I think I'm gonna leave this one on here because my battery and water tank are gonna hang down that far anyway. So there's no point in going through a whole bunch of work to try to get more clearance when these are gonna be hanging down. There's nowhere else to put these because they're so big and they're so deep. This is the best spot for them. And I've had very few problems actually dragging the tail end of this camper. We have done it a little bit, but this will be protected with a skid plate and be tucked up underneath. And combined between 17 gallons of water and this battery, there's like 300 plus pounds here. So getting those as low as possible, they're literally going to be down here, is going to help with just overall stability on the camper. And I need that 300 pounds behind the axle to help with tongue weight. Yes, this has been my plan from the beginning. Everybody gives me a hard time about the tongue weight, but I'm working on it. The kitchen, all this weight, then a swing out bumper with propane, a spare tire, maybe a diesel can, and then a battery and a water tank back here. There's going to be a lot of weight hanging out over the back end on this, balancing out the tongue weight. So shouldn't be a problem by the time we get done at all. So let's get some measurements. All right, so let's give you a rough idea of what I'm planning here. So water tank right here. I might try to scoot it a little bit closer to the axle, and the battery right here. And the bottoms of those, you can tell, is just higher than the bottom of the tow package. So I'm basically going to take some 2-inch square tubing and come right across here on both sides. I'm going to take a bracket up to the frame here, come down. That's going to have one bolt. Well, that's going to be welded. I'll have one bolt down here. So this whole thing, and then I'll have plate steel across here and probably some angle iron pieces to help support it. But this whole thing will sit here and then it'll drop down. I'll be able to unbolt it from this. The whole thing will hinge down until it hits the ground, and then I'll be able to access the top of my battery and the top of my water tank, at least some, or be able to pull them out without having to take everything apart. So it'll be like 2, maybe 4 bolts on this end, and then the whole thing will just hinge. That's the plan. I think it's gonna work. I got some measurements for the brackets I got to put on the frame, and then I got this 2-inch square tubing I need to cut, and then I'll get some measurements for our big plate, skid plate slash supportive plate that's going across the bottom there. It's gonna be dual purpose. It'll be holding them up, they'll be strapped to it, but it will also be acting as a skid plate to keep from puncturing them. That's obviously a big concern with your water tank. You puncture a hole in it, you've lost all your fresh water. Could be a big deal depending on where you're at. Same thing with the battery. You punch a hole in that thing, could destroy your battery, which is expensive, and now you have no power, which could also be a big deal. So this will hopefully protect from both of those. I am a little bit concerned about having the battery down here exposed to the elements, and I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I think I'm just going to try it and see how it holds up, and then that, or I'm going to build a little cover to go over it to help protect it. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll get some sort of plastic cover to put over it. I don't want anything that's going to hold water around the battery. It needs to drain out and dry, but this thing also is going to get submerged. I don't know. I probably need to put some grease or something on the battery terminals, help keep them from rusting or anything, because they are going to get wet. Other than that, I don't think, it's not going to be in the sun. I don't think it's going to really hurt the case of the battery too much. So I don't know, I'll probably run it and see what happens, and hopefully the battery holds up as long as the lifespan of the battery is. So probably try it and see. But I'm gonna get these pieces of metal cut, and I'll have to run back to the other shop because I still don't have plasma cutter gear and all my steel at this shop yet. It's still at the other shop, so I'll have to run over there. All right, we're back over here at the other shop. Tow truck's here. As soon as the camper gets out of the way, tow truck's going in the shop and we're gonna get back to work on it. That's the plan anyway. So go follow Tracer Customs to see the off-road record get built. But I'm gonna cut a couple pieces out of this, and then that'll be my supports. And then I think I'm gonna use this for the whole plate underneath later too. And then I got some scrap metal in these. These were some spools. I think I'm gonna cut a couple pieces out for this square tubing out of here to make some extra support braces and some stuff to kind of lock that battery in place. So cut some chunks out and then head back to the other shop. All right, got those cut out. Now I'm gonna head back to the other shop. And yes, I know I said plasma cutter earlier, and that wasn't a plasma cutter. The air compressor's at the other shop. The plasma cutter's here. So I can't use the plasma cutter without the air compressor, and I didn't want to bring the air compressor back over, so I just did it with the grinder. Anyway, let's head back to the other shop and do a little bit more work. All right, back at the other shop. I got these two plates cleaned up with the flapper disc, get the surface rust off of them. Now I need to go back under here on the frame and clean this frame up right in here where I'm going to be welding these on, and just knock the dust and dirt and surface rust off of that so I can get a clean weld on there. So I think I'm going to do that, and I may go ahead and weld these plates on tonight. I got to go cut some other pieces out. I got to cut the big flat piece out that's going to be the skid plate and also hold everything up. And I didn't get the 1-inch tubes cut because I need to grab a Sawzall. Go get those cut here in a little bit because I forgot to do that. But I think I'll go ahead and get this cleaned up and probably go ahead and weld these on tonight, and then maybe get my 2-inch square tubing cleaned up. All right, well, I got those brackets welded on good enough. I will finish up some more of this. You can kind of see it there. I will finish up some more of this probably tomorrow. So, see you tomorrow. All right, guys, I'm back working on the camper again tonight. I've got some more steel over here, and I'm about ready to build kind of my framework for this plate that's going under here. And then I've got to go cut out the big plate. I don't know if I'll get that tonight or not, but I'm gonna try to get this built. I gotta cut these 1x pieces down and then build out kind of the framework of the part that's gonna go under here and hinge. Got the brackets welded on yesterday, so try to get this built. It's another day. Camera died last night, so I didn't get to show you everything I did, but I did get the entire frame built up and welded together, and it is under here. It's just kind of sitting there right now with a little some placeholder bolts. I'm gonna pull that out in a minute. I brought the tow truck over, future tow truck. It's not exactly a tow truck right now, it's just a truck right now. I brought this piece of steel over on it, and it's gonna be sitting here, and we're gonna start working on this again as soon as I get the camper out of the way. We're gonna get back to work on the tow truck. So go follow Tracer Customs YouTube channel and Instagram, and you can see the tow truck build for Arkansas off-road recovery that we're trying to get started. Sometimes I wonder about myself, but I'm gonna pull this out. I gotta get a piece cut. I got me some root beer I've never had before. We're gonna try that. I got a bag of chocolate caramels, and I got some Twizzlers for supper. So I'm good to go. I need to get this done. It's Thursday. Tomorrow we're gonna go camping after work. So I need to get this thing done, get the water tank back in it, and get the battery under it. I don't know if I'll get the battery actually functional. I'll probably still use the old batteries for this trip, but I need to get it done. And then I'll hook the battery up the rest of the way later, because I don't even have my wire and connections and everything here. So, but I'm gonna get it under there. I'm gonna get this battery under there. I'm gonna get the water tank under there, get it ready to go for this weekend. So let's get back to work. All right, while I've got this thing under here, I'll kind of show you how it's gonna work. I gotta pull it out anyway. So there'll be a couple bolts on the front end here that you pull out, and then the whole thing drops down. The battery sits right here, water tank sits right up there. I've actually got the water tank stuck in here right now. So you can see the water tank is under there, but it'll actually sit down. It'll sit down in the frame once the frame's done, and then it'll be fastened to it, so it'll drop down with it, where I can access the top of it if I need to pull it out, or I can access the top of the battery if I need to work on the battery. So pull this thing out and get a plate put on the bottom. Alrighty, we've got our plate cut out here. I think I might have gone a little overkill on this, but it's what I had laying around. This is like 3/16 approximately, maybe a little less thickness steel. You tell me, is that too thick for this or not? I'm not exactly sure. I am not a fabricator by trade by any means, but I think it's gonna work. That's what I had laying around, and it's gonna be holding up this battery and the water tank, so it's gonna have a lot of weight on it, bouncing around on off-road stuff. And it's also gonna be doubling as a skid plate, so I need that thing to be able to take a hit if the back of this camper comes down and there's a rock or a stump or something stick up. I needed that to be able to take a hit and protect my battery and my water tank. So I don't know, I probably could have gone a little thinner. Probably should have gone with aluminum and gone with slightly thicker, but in aluminum, and it would have been lighter. I might switch to that later, I don't know. But I'm gonna see how this works out and what it does to my tongue weight. Hopefully, front end of the trailer doesn't come off the ground when I put this thing under here with a full tank of water and a battery. I don't think it will. It's got plenty of tongue weight, but it is gonna balance out a lot of the tongue weight. So I may have to add some weight on the tongue when I get this done. We'll see. Alrighty, I've got this thing welded up, and if you squint really hard, there's some good looking welds there. For the most part, there's not. But if you squint hard enough, really hard, it'll look pretty good. But I think it will hold. It's probably way overkill for what I'm doing, but I think it will work. If it doesn't work, we'll do something different. But I'm gonna let that cool off for a minute. I've got some bolts around here somewhere, and it's gonna be ready to go in. I'm not gonna paint it right now. I'm gonna see how everything works. I probably gotta put some tabs on it so I can ratchet strap the tank and the battery to it. Probably need to do that tonight. Yeah, I need to do that tonight. And then I'm gonna run it for a little while, see how things are working out. And then I'll pull it back out, and I think I'll probably do a truck bed liner on it to help with scuffs and scratches and rock chips and stuff. So I think that's what I'll do, but I'm not gonna do it right now. That'll also help with some vibration from the battery in the tank if I bed line that whole thing. So I'm gonna bed line it, but not today. I'm gonna use it for a little bit, see how it works, then I'll pull it out, sand it or sandblast it down, and then hit it with some truck bed liner. So I'm gonna let it cool off, and we're gonna see if we can get this thing bolted in. Or maybe I need to put some, I might need to fabricate some little tabs for ratchet straps. I gotta have a way to strap that battery down and strap the tank to this piece so they stay put and don't bounce around or fall out. I need to figure that out. Let's do that. All right, so what I decided to do on this to strap this down is I've just cut some little pieces of 1 inch here, and I'm just gonna set them here, weld them on, and then drill a couple holes in here so that I can loop a ratchet strap hook through that hole. Something like that, and I'll just put them all, drill 2 holes in each one so I could hook a ratchet strap on either side, and I think that'll be sufficient. I might end up wanting some pieces across here for the battery to help keep it from sliding side to side. Might add those in, I'm not sure. Or I might just put a little piece in there to keep it from sliding, and then a strap on the top and things not going anywhere. Might do that, might just put a piece in there. All right, let's add these in, drill some holes in them, then we'll get real close. Alrighty, I think this is ready to go under now. I think those will work to put some ratchet straps on. This is the first thing I've built on this camper that I thought, this is way too heavy. Obviously this entire thing is heavy. It's impractical in a lot of ways. That's why it's not commonly done. But I feel like this is so heavy. The framework was not heavy at all. But now with the plate on it, there's probably 75 pounds here, I would guess. Something like that. Between 75 and 100. Plus the battery, which is like 200 pounds. Plus, the battery might be 150. I don't remember. Plus the water tank. There's going to be a lot of weight in the back end. That's why I'm putting it all down low. I just don't know of a better way to do this than putting my batteries up high. Now, if I were doing lithium, which I will probably switch to lithium, that will help reduce weight at some point. But there just wasn't anywhere else to put batteries. I originally wanted to put them underneath the floor, which I still think would be a good option. Maybe when I go lithium, I can do that. I was also a little bit nervous about putting batteries underneath the floor and everything being wood and a higher potential of fire. This way, at least my battery's outside. I've got a little bit more buffer in case there were a fire. Shouldn't ever happen, but just trying to think ahead. Anyway, it's going to be heavy, but it's all in the back end, so it's just going to help with the tongue weight. But it is a heavy trailer overall. We'll weigh it. We're getting close to being able to weigh this. Once I get this done, not sure what else I'm going to do before I weigh it. I want to put solar across the front here and then rebuild the front end a little bit and do a little bit different stuff in there. But once this is done and a little bit more on the interior, I'm probably going to go ahead and weigh it and then see what I can put on the front end. and see what this thing weighs altogether. So anyway, let's get this put in. Alrighty, it is in for the time being. I still gotta test fit the battery and tank and everything, but you can see it's just tucked right there, right around the tow package. So I think it's gonna work. It looks pretty good, if I do say so myself. Not saying it's the best idea in the world, but it's an idea that looks like it's gonna work. All right, I'm gonna lower it down. So the point is to be able to hinge it down, put the tank in, put the battery in, and then put it back up. So let's see if that'll work. That's a workout. That battery is not light, and my tank is so snug between the frame rails. I'm hoping it doesn't cause me a problem when this thing levers up in there, but it is in there. Battery and water tank. Now it's time to see if the whole hinged idea is gonna work. But so far it's looking pretty good. If it goes up in there and the water tank doesn't have any issues, we'll be in good shape. That's my only concern. The battery and everything's looking good. I can get right to my terminals here. If I need to service, disconnect wires, I can just drop it down. The hose is long enough. I've got to tighten that up a little bit on my water hose. I still do have another water hose for an inlet I need to put on the other side, but I am not doing that today. Just doing this today. All right, let's see. All right, well, the camera died on me, but I did get it, and it is bolted in and all on its own. The only issue I had was the water tank was wanting to not go in. It was wanting to rotate and catch with the way that it angles up, but I was able to take the license plate off, and then I can see right up in there, and I could kick the stucco board in there and kick the water tank over where it's supposed to be, and then it went in just fine. And I can also access these bolts from in here to tighten those up. I am going to put 2 more, I think, in this plate and drill and tap the tow hitch and put 2 more bolts in this plate. So there'll be 4 on this end and then the 2 on that end. And I think it's going to work. It's ridiculous, but I think it's going to work. Oh, I'm tired. All right, I am going to button this up and call it a day. I'm not getting the battery hooked up right now. That's gonna have to happen later. I gotta get the shop cleaned up some, and I gotta get home. It's late, it's Thursday. We're going camping tomorrow after work, so Sarah needs this home so she can pack it tomorrow. And we'll see you on that trip. We're gonna go hiking because it's raining. So we're gonna go see some more waterfalls. We're gonna go camp, we're gonna go see waterfalls, and we're gonna have a good time. I'm looking forward to, it's gonna be nice weather, and the waterfalls will be running good, and I am looking forward to relaxing. It's been a long week with lots of long nights trying to get this done, and I'm really close. Next time I will get the battery hooked up the rest of the way so we can switch over to this battery instead of the other battery. I also need to get the outlet. I'm going to put another one of these in over here on the other side for my water fill somewhere in this area. I thought about putting it in here, but I don't think I am because I'm really seriously considering putting the gas tank back under this thing so that I could also carry, if we're going on a long trip, an extra 30 gallons of gas. So I think I'm going to do that at some point. I don't know when. We don't really need that right now, but at some point in the future. Ideally, I put the gas tank back under here. We can fill it up. We've got 30 gallons of gas under here, and we switch from a diesel heater to a gas heater, and I could tap that straight into that tank, put a little pump on here, transfer pump, and we'd have a spare 30 gallons to go into the camp in the Suburban, which would give us like 4 or 5, maybe 600 mile range, probably 4 to 500 mile range pulling the camper, because we get about 300 miles on a tank. So if I had 60 gallons, we'd probably get about 200 miles, or like 400 miles instead of 250. So we'll see, we'll figure that out later. But I think I'm gonna close things up, put things away, clean things up, call it a day. Make sure and go follow Tracer Customs. Wrecker is gonna get built soon. That is gonna be our next project. We're gonna get back on it. We gotta get it done so we can get it operational. If you need anything else from Tracer Customs, hit us up. We're partnered up with companies like Backwoods Adventure Mods, Pathfinder Lighting, Diode Dynamics Lighting. We can get almost anything. And if we can't get it, you can get it and bring it down and have us install it. So if you want roof racks, rooftop tents, extrusion, we're partnered up with Extrusion Overland for bed racks. They make really good ones. And I mean, we can get about anything. Radios, speakers. Anyway, we're calling it a day. I've rambled enough. So good night. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.